I'm Jenny. Standing on the sustainable bamboo platform as the sun set over the valley, I surveyed the sea of faces before me. The world's media was here, capturing a moment no one in my family had ever anticipated. My dirty work boots, once a source of my family's ridicule, were now a symbol of authenticity that had reporters scribbling furiously in their notebooks. Valley Vista isn't just another luxury development, I announced to the assembled crowd. It's proof that true luxury can heal the earth rather than harm it. The holographic display behind me showed the valley's transformation in real time, living buildings emerging from restored landscapes, organic farms integrated with 5-star accommodations, and wildlife corridors weaving through world-class amenities. As I looked out, I could see my family in the crowd. My sister, Lily, in her designer outfit, looked utterly out of place among the tech billionaires and environmental leaders. Mom's social planning notebook remained closed. There was no need to plan status symbols into a project that had already redefined status itself. The waiting list for residential units, I continued, already exceeded 2 years. But priority will be given to those who demonstrate genuine commitment to our environmental standards. Dad's developer friends shifted uncomfortably, likely calculating how their traditional luxury projects would compete with this new paradigm of sustainable opulence. It all started at our family's annual summer barbecue. My parents, Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, held the event at their large, old-fashioned estate every year. Mom, a social butterfly type, was always busy with her charity lunches and country club events. Dad was a traditional real estate developer, always focused on square footage and marble countertops. Lily, my younger sister, was a high-flying corporate executive. She was married to Henry, an investment banker. Henry always dressed in sharp suits and looked uncomfortable around my less than polished appearance. That day, as the barbecue was in full swing, Lily spotted the dirt under my fingernails. "Still playing farmer?" She smirked, adjusting her silk dress. "What is it now? Organic carrots?" I glanced down at my work boots, caked with rich valley soil from my morning inspection. "Something like that," I replied. Mom explained to Henry, "Jenny's going through a phase. She bought this plot of land in the valley last year and calls it her sustainable agriculture project." What they saw as just a plot was actually 1,800 acres of prime real estate. And what they called playing in the dirt was a carefully orchestrated environmental restoration project that had caught the attention of sustainable development firms around the world. Lily continued, "You should see her little garden shed. Remember when she turned down that senior manager position at Dad's firm to work with plants?" Dad looked up from the grill. "She could have had a great office. Instead, she's out there with her compost bins and solar panels." If only they knew that the garden shed was a state-of-the-art research facility in disguise. And that international investors had flown in on private jets to walk the valley's fertile soil. "At least let me help you find a proper job," Lily offered, her diamond earrings catching the sun. "My firm's always looking for someone." Just then, my phone buzzed. It was another message from the development team. The plans were ready for submission to the city council. 5 years of painstaking preparation was finally about to pay off. "I'm doing fine," I said quietly, checking the latest soil analysis reports. The valley's restoration had surpassed even our most optimistic projections. Mom sighed. "Honey, you live in a cabin. Lily's just bought her second vacation home." Henry chimed in, "Speaking of real estate, have you heard about that mystery developer buying up land in the valley? There's some big eco-resort project in the works. Could affect your little garden?" I hid my smile behind my water glass. I might have heard something about that. Henry continued, "They say it's going to transform the whole region. Sustainable luxury accommodations, organic farming, renewable energy integration. Billions in development." "Billions?" Lily scoffed. "In that empty valley next to Jenny's little vegetable patch?" Dad flipped a burger and shook his head. Who'd invest that kind of money in farmland? Suddenly, my phone buzzed again. Plans leaked. Press conference moved up. Your presence required immediately. Actually, I said, standing up as news alerts began flooding everyone's phones. I should head out. I have a meeting about the Valley project. Meeting? With your carrots? Lily laughed. The first headline popped up on Henry's phone: Revolutionary Eco-Resort Development Revealed. Valley Vista Project to Redefine Luxury Sustainable Tourism. That's right by your place. Mom frowned, pulling up the article on her phone. It says here, the developer owns the entire valley. 1,800 acres. I confirmed, watching as understanding slowly dawned on their faces. I prefer to think of it as my garden. Lily's wine glass froze halfway to her lips as more details emerged on the scrolling newsfeed: the development plans, the international investors, the billions in sustainable infrastructure, and my name listed as the owner and CEO of Valley Vista Developments. The family barbecue came to a dead halt as phones lit up with notifications. Henry was the first to break the silence. You're the mystery developer, the one everyone's been trying to identify for months. I pulled up the master plans on my tablet, not the public version that was leaking to the press, but the complete schematics. Would you like to see what I've really been growing in that valley? The holographic display sprang to life, showing a seamless integration of luxury accommodations with restored natural habitats. There were 5-star treehouse suites nestled in ancient forest canopies, underground spa facilities powered by geothermal energy, and organic farms that would supply Michelin-starred restaurants. But you live in a cabin, Mom stammered. A prototype, I corrected, switching the display to show the hidden features of my simple home. Every sustainable technology in the development was tested there first. Those solar panels you always mocked, I said. They're powering the entire valley's construction. Dad abandoned his grill and moved closer to study the plans. This is revolutionary, he admitted, watching as the display showed how each structure would enhance rather than damage the ecosystem. The permits alone must have cost millions, Henry whispered, rapidly calculating figures on his phone. Try billions, I replied. The land acquisition, the technology development, the infrastructure. This is the biggest sustainable development project in history. Lily's perfectly manicured hands shook as she set down her wine glass. All those times you couldn't attend my housewarming parties. I was meeting with environmental engineers, I nodded. Or negotiating with ecotourism experts, or developing new sustainable building materials in my garden shed laboratory. More guests gathered around the display as it showed the project's phases. There were restored wetlands that would filter the valley's water naturally, wildlife corridors integrated into every structure, and the invisible technology that made it all possible. Those investments you kept trying to talk me out of, I said to Henry. The ones you said were worthless land parcels. They completed the valley acquisition. Every worthless acre is now part of a multi-billion-dollar development. Mom sank into a chair, her social planning notebook falling forgotten to the ground. But you never said anything. Would you have believed me? I asked quietly. Between Lily's corporate success and Dad's traditional development projects, when would you have listened? My phone buzzed again. The press was gathering at the valley entrance. Helicopters circled overhead, trying to get shots of the development site. The official announcement is in an hour, I said, checking the time. You're welcome to attend though. You might want to change into something more appropriate for walking the site. Walking the site? Lily looked down at her designer heels in the dirt. In the future of luxury development, I corrected. Where success is measured in restored ecosystems, not square footage of marble. Dad was still staring at the plans, his developer mind recalculating everything he thought he knew about his industry. This will change everything. That's the point, I smiled, pulling up the projected revenue figures. Sustainable luxury isn't just about preserving nature. It's about profiting from protecting it. Henry was already on his phone, likely calling his investment firm. The market implications, the technology patents alone are already secured, he said. I added, along with contracts for 5 more sites around the world. Turns out playing in the dirt can be quite profitable when you're growing the future. The display showed one final image, the valley transformed from abandoned farmland into a living testament to sustainable luxury. Every tree I'd planted, every soil sample I'd tested, every solar panel I'd installed had been building toward this moment. Shall we head to the press conference? I said, watching my family struggle to reconcile their simple daughter with the visionary developer I'd become. I believe there are some people very interested in my little garden. As my security team arrived in custom electric vehicles, Miss Parker, my head of operations, approached with a tablet in hand. The international investors are assembled at the site. The representatives from Dubai are particularly interested in discussing the desert adaptation possibilities. Desert adaptation? Dad's voice cracked. I nodded, pulling up a global map dotted with potential sites. Turns out sustainable luxury translates well across cultures. We have inquiries from 10 countries. Lily's perfectly highlighted hair seemed to deflate as she watched Forbes representatives set up for an exclusive interview on the lawn. But you never even finished business school. Because I was too busy building an actual business, I replied, accepting a tablet with the latest sustainability metrics. Though those environmental science classes everyone mocked came in quite handy. The sound of helicopters grew louder as media crews positioned themselves around the valley. My little garden was about to become the most talked about development project in the world. The vertical farming integration, Henry was muttering, still running numbers. The water recycling systems, the renewable energy grid. This isn't just a resort. It's a blueprint for future cities. Now you're getting it, I smiled, watching more luxury vehicles arrive with potential investors. Those carrots I was growing were test crops for specialized soil development. That compost system is a patent-pending biotechnology that's revolutionizing waste management. I pulled up comparison data. Your sister's house in the mountains uses more energy in a month than my entire development will use in a year, and it's 1,000th the size. Lily's face flushed as several of her social circle arrived, not as guests this time, but as potential investors eager to be part of the sustainable luxury movement. My assistant announced, the press conference begins in 30 minutes. The mayor is on his way, along with the head of the local environmental protection department and 2 national sustainability ambassadors. Dad's burger, flipping tongs clattered to the ground. The mayor is very interested in expanding this model across the city, I confirmed. Turns out sustainable luxury developments generate more tax revenue than traditional real estate. The family barbecue was forgotten as the estate's lawn transformed into an impromptu staging area for one of the biggest development announcements in recent history. Success doesn't always look the way everyone expects it to. Sometimes, it comes in the form of soil samples and solar panels, quietly revolutionizing an industry while others focus on the superficial. And as the last rays of sunlight bathed the valley, I knew my little garden was about to bloom into something that would truly change the world.